Hi there. Good morning. Is it morning? No, it's just past 12. I just had I suppose, a light bulb moment right there as I was uploading my energy work video for the Wednesday, as it seems to be working for me to do it this way. I had scribbles, because I have to rewatch my tale that I speak into the machine, and then at some point, give time markers for people who are interested in one particular subject or other. So you can go to that point in the video and hear me talk about something that actually, speaks to you, really. As I was doing that, typing in my timestamps and my little bits of content there, I had a brainwave all of a sudden. So I'm in the middle of the subject matter of the first part of today's video. Today is Wednesday, the 22nd of April. It would have been my mummy's birthday. Poor mum. I love you. What can I say? It feels really cheesy to be saying that because she's no longer here and, all sorts of things. 22nd of April, 2020. We have just heard just a tiny update from me here yesterday evening that our corona lockdown measures are going to be prolonged for another couple of weeks at least. So the atmosphere will have more opportunity to clear up. The daisies will be happy, the birds are happy, and some of the humans are happy, I suppose. I find it really difficult at the moment to have just been to the market, and I tell you, it's sad. It's hard because this is completely not what I was going to come on and talk about. Maybe I will manage to screw my brain around to talk about the things that I wanted to say. But it's sad because it has to do with power and authority and sovereignty, everything that's happening right now, today, out there. And I relate and I resonate, just like everybody else, to this whole shift in power that's happening. And I am triggered. I think 100 gazillion people are having authority figure triggers in one way or another, where deeply buried memories of someone having power over you are trying to elbow themselves to the surface in one way or another. And I just sat, when I'd done my shopping at the market, which is like my high point in the week here, basically, because at least we're all outside, the sun is shining, I've got a couple of really good suppliers on the market that I can go get veg, I can get meat, I get fruit and cheese, really staple things. I stock up on a couple of really good things right there, and that will last me for, I suppose, at least 70% of our needs in the house at the moment is supplied by the market. So fresh produce, fresh things, people are relatively feeling like they're together, they're coping, they're dealing, and it's a positive kind of a situation. But at the end, for this time, I go to the market every week almost, unless I really don't need anything. So normally I just go straight back home because it's time for my coffee and I want to stick my things in the fridge anyway, and so on and so forth. It's like, what is it, 250 meters or so over yonder. So it's like really close by. If I were in France, I would be feeling even worse because in France it's normal that you, after or during your market visit, you go to a coffee house at some point and have a coffee in the middle of the hullabaloo, which is what you tend to want. And that's not happening in France at the moment either. So, oh my God, my other country, what that's like, because they have separate authority versus sovereignty issues in France. And it's like I used to live there. I grew up partly in France, and it's not, yeah. So as I was coming back from the market, I actually sat on a little bench out there and looked at the trees a bit, because there's a couple of linden trees there that are full in leaf, like, because yeah, it's springtime, so it's time to put out the leaves. It looks really green and beautiful and pretty. And I sat and I realized that because I was actually, walking around the different shops and people at the market that I need to go to. It takes me about half an hour in total, 40 minutes or so. And during the whole time, normally I'm relaxed, I'm happy. It's, a good time of the week, good time of the day. It's in the morning and I'm okay. And now, more and more, each time I'm outside, I get like, it's not exactly heart palpitations, but it feels that way. It's like almost like I'm hyperventilating, like I'm picking up fear from so many people. I guess this is all a lot more important than the vibrational bit that I was going to talk about, which I will, once I've done this, hopefully, try to do a separate little thing about, because it's just impossible. So I sat down because I wanted to confront or face up to what was happening for me emotionally at that moment, in that situation out there. Because in here, in my house, I have it's like this immense safe space. I have a little garden. It's beautiful, and I'm basically the only one here at the moment. So I chose this house because of its good aspects. The out back of the house is on the south side, so I got all the sunshine on here. It's quiet. It's a good neighborhood. Got all these great qualities here, and I suppose I feel buffered. I feel protected by the house. Not so out there, and just like everybody else, I have to deal. Right, so I sat under the linden trees and I dealt. I thought, well, yes, I think I was dealing, only talking about it is different. And that's what I'm doing right now, because everybody's in the same weirdness here. So I realized that I had a trigger, an authority trigger, where it's, the fact when you're like a small child and your parents have anger issues and things like that, it's hard. That's the core of my dark side. My shadow is about fear and rage and utter powerlessness, right? So I've worked on that. I've realized heaps of that, and it's not, I don't tend to normally freeze over anymore in a state of total anxiety, I don't panic anymore because of all the work, because of the years that have gone into the process. So that's good, right? But that doesn't mean years onward that everything's just evaporated and disappeared completely. So that's what I also want to say right here. It's like the trigger, instead of being spike like that and you just and you're bleeding all over the floor. Instead of that, it's like a big push. It's not a spike anymore. It doesn't puncture. It doesn't feel like I am in a state of danger necessarily. But I feel like I'm in a storm. I am being pulled back and forth by big currents out there. and also currents that, of course, I respond to because of the old things that used to be. And so I sat and I looked at it for a bit, and I basically felt like, okay, so I just have to, again, in knowledge of this, I have to sort of ground myself, pull myself back. I have to be aware of my own strength, really. So I felt that went kind of automatic as I realized the different parts of the emotional thing that I was in. What with being surrounded by people who are not doing this, and who are basically feeling more and more fearful, I think, at a deeper level, which is the whole point, I think, of this corona exercise, is that everything is being extracted from us, right? Good Lord. 3 months ago, you wouldn't have thought this possible. None of it. So that's what's in the newspapers all the time, the newspapers and these, news feed and whatever you get on your phone or whatever it is, the internet. Every 15 seconds it's about this, and it's just sinking in more and more. And where up until January we were sort of free to mess around and do whatever we liked. Now, all of a sudden, it's like being in a police state, which is not the same thing, or in a dictatorship, which is not the same thing, or in a war zone, which is definitely not the same thing. But we are responding to all those things in the same way as, I suppose, the child inside us is unaware of her own strength. So that's maybe what I'm coming here to say, Where's your strength? Who are you really? Because in there is also heaps more strength. The more fearful you are, it's a matter of focus. It's a matter of letting yourself know the strength that you have. Allowing yourself to experience your strength. Allowing myself. I'm listening to myself talk here, I'm alive. Okay, so I'm nervous. It doesn't matter. There's a lot more to me than my nerves. There's a lot more to you than all that. See? So that was my important point, apparently. I'm going to stop right here. I wish you all the best. Please be safe and, believe in there's always a next day and things like that. I'm going to go, hopefully, back to my energy point, my energy business point that I was coming on about in the next little video, okay? Thank you for doing what you do, okay? Whatever that is. Thank you. See you next time. Bye-bye.